I'm Penny and I'm an alcoholic. Let's say the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This here today is probably the greatest honor I've ever had as a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it is an honor for me, and it is an honor for my husband, my children, my parents. It's an honor for all those people that helped me, that came before me. My sponsor, who's been my sponsor from the day that I came in. All those women. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable that a whining wino like me is standing up here telling you a story. But boy, have I got a story. Sisters, you thought you heard something in Medjugorje and Fatima, they got nothing on the Penny story. If you're here with me today, I hope that you're an alcoholic. Because if you're an alcoholic, there's a solution for you, just like there was a solution for me. Because believe me, the last thing I ever wanted was to be an alcoholic. But I liked everything about drinking. I liked that you look better to me, but more importantly, I look better to you. You were funny, but I was hysterical. I loved the great conversations and intimate relationships that you found in the places that I drank. And believe me, friends, when I started out, you know, I loved to dance, I loved the music, I loved everything about that. And there was no way that I ever thought that I was going to end up in AA. I never thought. That wasn't anywhere in my mind. But I was a little bit of a rebel. I got kicked out of college for something that I did when I was drinking. Of course, there were a lot of rules then. A lot of rules. I got 3 other young women kicked out with me. But you see, that's kind of how I rolled. If you were with me and I was drinking, you were going to be in trouble. It was not going to be a good night for you, but I was having a ball. So I just figured that the blessing that you got from being with me was worth any trouble you were going to get in. The bottom line of that is I didn't care about anybody else but myself. I basically did not care about you. So as time went on, I got kicked out of college, I told you, and my father was not very happy with me. And you know what I did when somebody wasn't happy with me? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. You're not going to talk to me like that. I'm out of here. Sure, I flushed my education down the toilet, but so I fixed my father. I moved out. Happiest day of his life. I moved out, and I moved down to Dayton, Ohio with one of the women that I got kicked out. She had an apartment. She had a job. She paid the rent. She bought the beer. I planned the parties. It was really a good situation for me. So a friend of my dad's came down for a building trades convention and asked us if we wanted to come and have dinner. And indeed we did. When I walked into that hall, there were large tables of maybe 8 or 10 men at a table. There weren't many women there, that was for sure. And when I looked across the table, if there is such a thing as love at first sight, I felt it that night when I looked at Jimmy Dixon. And I knew it was a good thing. But at the dinner, somebody came around and asked if anybody wanted a drink. Oh, yeah. And I had a drink, and as the dinner progressed, one of the gentlemen at the table mentioned that there was a hospitality suite going on upstairs. Now, I was young, but I wasn't that dumb. I know what they're doing at a hospitality suite. Booze is flowing, no one's paying, and you're real hospitable. So this is another little cute thing I used to do when I was drinking. I always felt like I was the president of General Motors. You know, I was large and in charge. And so I said to my Prince Charming, listen, could you give me, I have something very important to do. Could you give me about 5 minutes and I'll be right back? Well, I don't know if anybody here drank like me. But if you did, you know I didn't get back. I didn't get back. I woke up the next morning all drunked up, come out of bed, my dutiful roommate's getting ready for work, and I said, Patty, man, I fell in love last night. Can't remember what his name was. She said, oh, that tall, good-looking guy, that was Jim Dixon. Luckiest day of his life. So I got a phone book. I don't know if anybody is familiar with a phone book. I called a bunch of hotels. I found where he was. Hello, Jim. This is Penny. You know, last night, I'm so sorry. Whatever it was that they gave to me had such a terrible effect on me. And if you just give me one more chance, I promise nothing like that will ever happen again. He bought it. My father was right. Within 6 months, I was back home. During that 6-month time, we did this thing called letter writing. You write, you put on paper, there's a stamp, you bend it up. It was good. My dad was right, though. Within 6 months, we were married. Happiest time of my life. I knew he was a good thing when I saw him. I mean, I was all over this guy like a blanket. I did all the things that a young wife would do. I baked bread, I made spaghetti sauce, I wore an apron, I had a baby. It was a great time in our life. But when we would go out, I never wanted to go home. I just wanted to stay at the party, keep the party going. If I heard that you're having a party, and it's a great party, I'm loving it. I'm at your house and I am loving it. And somebody says, hey, I heard Joe Schmo's having some people over there tonight. I'm loving your party, but I don't want to miss something. Believe me, I'm going to Joe Schmo's because I might miss something. That was just like who I was. It was who I was. So as time went on, about 5 years into our marriage, I had a son. Boy, have I got it all together now. I got a good husband, goes to work every day. We have our own house. I've got 2 beautiful children. Throw in a Chevrolet station wagon, I'm like the Partridge Family. When my son was, shortly after he was born, he developed a respiratory problem, and he used to stop breathing at different times. So he was in intensive care for a good deal of time. It was during that time that I began to use other forms of alcohol. I had to keep myself going. You know, my son was a year old, and somehow, miraculously, he just outgrew that. It just went away. But my friends, things had begun to happen in my house. Things have begun to happen in my house. I want you to remember a couple things about me. Remember that I am a compulsive and addictive person. And if you know that you're going to understand this. It took me on a journey that I didn't understand. It took me to a place of no thought, of no feeling. It took me to a place where my family didn't matter. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I go to meetings sometimes and somebody says, I'm hanging in there, I'm hanging in there. I don't know what that means. Because, you know, my husband's union was on strike for over a year, and he had to hire somebody to come into our house so that I could give some semblance of being a mother. I would open my closet in the morning to get dressed, and I would cry. I would cry. because I couldn't decide what to put on. So one of the therapies we used to do was we used to take our little fat bagel, the beagle, and the baby, and we would walk around the block. And we're walking around the block one night, and Jim says, "What's wrong? Are you all right?" And I said, I got an appointment with the shrink tomorrow, and how am I going to do that, Jim? I got to get dressed. I can't do that. He said, "I'll lay your clothes out for you in the morning, and I'll call a cab. And I'll have the cab come and pick you up, and he'll wait for you, and then he'll bring you home. You'll be able to do it. You'll be fine." So we did that. And I came home, and Esther, who was the woman that was helping me with the kids, was taking Jimmy for a walk in the stroller. And I said, "Oh, Mom, I feel great, Esther. Oh, my God. I feel I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to walk with you today." I lived 4 houses from a large street called Clifton in Lakewood, Ohio. I said, "I'm going to walk with you, Esther. Wait, I'm coming with you." And I walked with her. And I walked all the way down to Clifton, 4 houses away. And I looked, I said, "Esther, I'm feeling so good. I'm going to go back home now. And I'll wait for Jim to come home." And I stood on the steps, and that young man came home. He said, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" I said, "Wait till I tell you what happened, Jimmy. Wait till I tell you." He said, "Well, my God, were your clothes okay?" "Yeah." "Was the doctor okay?" "Yeah." I walked all the way to Clifton today. And that young man grabbed me in his arms, and he hugged me. And he said, "My God, Penny, how can we wonder whether God is taking care of us? You walked all the way to Clifton." So, my friends, I don't understand hanging in there. I had my son's 5th birthday. I had it in a park. I had it in a park because my house was filthy. You know, when you're in a metro park, you're not supposed to drink, unless you're me. So I'm standing here today, I can see that little boy with all those blonde bongers looking at his Winnie the Pooh cake. And I'm drinking. And I'm drinking. And I'm doing other stuff because, I'm having a party. I gotta be ready. And it's happened a million times before. My husband got mad. He put the kids in a car. After I had my husband bought me a 65 Mustang convertible. He put the kids in his car, took them home. If you're at my party, you're the one cleaning up because I'm busy. I'm loaded, it's a fact. So I got in my Mustang and I had the top down, and as I'm standing here today, I'm telling you, I can feel it. I'm riding up, there was a hill that kind of went up, and the wind is blowing through my hair, and I got the radio on blasted, and the Fifth Dimension is singing, "One less egg to fry, one less bell to answer." And my friends, I'm thinking, I'm living, man, I'm living. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. And I get home, and when you're half jaked up like that, you know what you like to do? You like to, let's get it going. Let's talk about this, what happened. Let's discuss it all. Let's talk about it in detail. And my husband gave every evidence of being sound asleep. And I said, "Wake up, I want to talk to you." "I'm sleeping, let me alone. Let me alone." You know how I woke him up? I threw my glass at him. He got up all right, and I'm going to tell you, I haven't thrown a glass at him since. He got up all right. Yeah, he did. And then I did this other thing that I do, I ran away from home. So in my nightgown, I run away, and I woke up in the morning, and I'm asleep by the garbage cans. Right by the garbage cans. I had to do something. Had to do something. I said, God help me! God help me! I had never said that before. And since that day, I have been corrected, protected, and directed. How is that possible? That a whiny wino like me, I have skyrocketed into the fourth dimension of existence before which I had not ever dared to dream. Thank God. Thank God. God, I offer myself to Thee to build with me and do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Your will. Take away from me my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Your will always. You know, prayer is really a funny thing. When one day you realize your prayers have been answered, it's only then that you regret that you hadn't prayed just a little bit harder. Peace, my friends, is not the absence of conflict. It's the ability to cope with it. An easy life means a life of no progress, a life of no learning. Where I've learned the most is through the hardest things that I've had to experience in my journey to sobriety, through sobriety. When I came here, I thought, okay, I'm going to quit drinking. They aren't going to want anything else out of me. This is a marathon, folks, not the 20-yard dash. I have learned to walk with God. And when you walk with God, you will never be overwhelmed, overtaken, overburdened, overshadowed. That is the truth, and that is an amen. And you know what amen means? Do you know what amen means? It means there's nothing more that needs to be said. Nothing more that needs to be said. You know, in my sobriety, I was an irresponsible daughter. I caused my parents a lot of heartache in my young years. What's today? Is today the 10th? 9 years ago today, 10th is tomorrow. 9 years ago, I held my mother's hand when she took her last breath. 8 years ago, I held my father's hand when he took his last breath. I have been a neglectful mother, and I have been a great mother. I have listened to your secrets, and you have listened to my secrets. I held a dead grandbaby in my arms, my dead little grandson in my arms. And I held a wonderful live grandson in my arms. I have made a lot of money, and I have lost a lot of money. I have had dear friends, confidants that knew my soul, that have died. And I have made new friends. I have had problems in this sobriety that hurt so bad, I thought I was drowning. I thought I was going down. And I have had the joy of the celebration of life in Alcoholics Anonymous, where you laugh and you cry at the same time for the joy that you feel, the people that I've met. I want to say one word about them. You know, I was standing up here today, a young man I never saw before in my life came up and grabbed me and said, let's pray. And we said a beautiful prayer. I have a friend here who texted me when he was in intensive care after serious surgery to tell me he loved me, that I was such a good friend to him. I have people. I was so lonely. I was lonely the way Bob was lonely. I was lonely in the morass of self-pity and quicksand laid all around. My sponsor tells me that it's important for me to tell you what my life is like today. And I'm going to tell you what my life is like today. My dear husband, Jim, we just celebrated about a month ago, maybe not even a couple weeks ago, 58 years married. Hey, yeah! To both of us, man, to both of us. I know nobody thought I was 58 years old, but actually I had my 79th birthday yesterday. Yay! When I was 27 years old, I never thought there would be another day. So my husband he was home in hospice in the bedroom there for 9 months. He was given 48 hours to live. He didn't eat or drink for a week. And, you know, COVID and this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm praying and I'm saying, hey, okay, God, I mean, I'm your soldier, but give me a break here. I mean, I need my people. So one day, one of the healthcare gals comes in. She's really disturbed. And I said, hey, Raquel, what's wrong? Oh, my God, I got a DUI last night. Really? Really? Oh, my God. And I love it when they're crying. I let them feel the tears, man. Don't take the tears away. So I let her feel the tears for a while, and I said, well, you know, I'm an alcoholic. She says, well, no, I didn't know. How would I know? I said, how would you know that? You wouldn't know that. Someday I'm going to let her feel real bad for a while. And so I did, and then I thought, okay, she gets to have a timeout. I just happened to have a new big book. So I put in Bill's story, and I took it out and threw it on the dining room table. I said, you get a chance, you might want to look this over a little, and you want to tell me what you think. She's reading it like she's taking Medcat. So, hey, wait, remember my husband? So, oh my God, this is what I know. Yeah, right. Okay, the next day she comes in. She's happy like she swallowed a bluebird, you know? I mean, I said, whoa, you seem to be in a better mood. She said, I went to a meeting last night. I said, what kind of meeting was that? She said, an AA meeting. I said, how'd you get to an AA meeting? She says, well, I called my friend who moved to Arizona because she was with a bad element here, and that was going to save her. And she knew some women that were in AA. And so this woman named Carol called me, and she came and picked me up, and she took me to a meeting at her house. I said, this woman that you never knew came and picked you up? Yeah. That's Alcoholics Anonymous, and don't you forget it. I said, well, I got to ask you, does Cheryl live in Lorraine? She said, yeah, she does. She had to go to court Monday. She had to go to court the Monday after this. So I said, oh. So I go in my office, shut the door, call, hey, Carol, This is Penny. I know we haven't talked for a while, but did you do a 12-step on so-and-so? Yeah, I did. She said, well, she's going to court. Are you taking her? I said, hell no, I'm not taking her. Are you taking her? She said, oh, yeah, I take people to court. I said, good for you. You're an angel. You're an angel of service. So that afternoon, my home care worker says, you never guess who's going to take me to court. You know who's taking her to court, right? Carol? Yeah. Whoa. Well, she's going to jail. She had got time in jail. I said, what jail are you going to? She said, I think I'm going to Lorain County Jail. I said, wait a minute. I think I sponsor a guard there. Hold on a second. You gotta love it. So I look up and yes, I do. Let me call Chris and see. So the guard comes in and says, are you a friend of Penny's? Gives her a big book and says, we'll take care of you while you're here. So the woman's taking care of my husband. Oh, I also told Carol. I said, listen, Carol, this woman's taking care of my husband who's dying. We got to keep her sober for a while. You know what I mean? So she's at my house all the time, right? So I call some of my camaraderies who are over here, and I said, listen, we got to have a little meeting here and let her have her little come to Jesus. And she did, she had 7 people came over, a spiritual number, if I might add. 7 people came over, and they're telling their stories, and she was like, oh, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. So the group decided we should continue to have the meeting. Now, this woman still works for me. I'm pretty sure she's drinking. She's not drinking around me, but I can tell by the places she's going. Facebook, forget it, guys. It tells you everything. But these young people that come over go in and talk to my husband. And one woman, every week, she bakes some cookies and pies and cakes. I said, are you listening to 5th Steps or hearing confessions? Or what are you doing in there with them, Jim? Now, all of a sudden, Jim starts to get a little better. I kid you not. And he's getting better. And he gets kicked out of hospice and put in palliative care. And I would tell you, as we speak right now, my husband is probably riding his exercise bike that he rides a half hour every day. Now, here's the beauty of it. He has told these young people in front of me, she was weak. She was shallow. I didn't know if I could stay. But she's not now. She's strong. And you need to watch her, right? And learn from her. And you need to carry the torch. You need to do this. And this man, this love of my life for 58 years, has told me how proud he is of me. How much my life means. What purpose I have. How jealous he is of me. How glad he stayed. My friends, you don't get this anywhere. Alcoholics Anonymous is the greatest thing that can ever come into an alcoholic life. Because all of us here, all of us, every single one of you, has felt deeply the tragedies of life. You felt the sorrow of life. When we were full of worry and shame and the inability to wake up in the morning with peace of mind and self-respect. And with this great, great program, we can make all things new. Each day is a joyous sunrise gift from God. The night of our past is gone. This day is ours. Will you help me say the Lord's Prayer, please? Is that what we do? That's what we do now.